I managed to persuade the publisher I worked for then to take this on. It did very well.
You're the one who came, but your chairman was good. He
Yeah,
came to my office, you know.
Was that Nigel
convinced me
Farrell?
to publish.
Nigel, was it Nigel?
Yes.
I saw him in London.
He's in arts, right?
He's now in art.
If you want to relaunch this, we can do it again.
我们看见那个slide 是吧？
But I can talk to him.
We've got-
I did.
You can keep
Europe,
the, you can keep the
impact.
participant on the
Thanks.
side, you know.
Okay, I think we shall start.
We shall start, yeah, good morning, yeah, let's welcome Professor Foo Check Tek.
Oh, they're coming,
Okay. Yeah, Professor Foo Check Tek, very honored to have him. He founded the Sun Tzu Institute, organized successful global conferences and the MBA conference on Sun Tzu for overseas universities. So he was associate professor at NTU before. So very honored to have him to share with us on this particular topic on the integrating AI in transforming the process of strategy management. Since the war for technology corporation. Let's welcome.
What I try to do is give you an overall overview, right, of the subject. I'll start with the prelude. And then, of course, I'll move on into explaining, right, in the prelude about why I got involved in AI, right, and the background and all that, because I think there are research students here who are keen to do research. As well as I will go into this explaining, very importantly, how do you understand Sun Tzu in depth, right? And then, of course, you'll go into the number two, the scroll itself. I will just discuss one scroll, 3 lines of Sun Tzu, to show you how Sun Tzu relates to this AI. And then, of course, I will then go into AI typology, and then in depth on my own research. And then, why is AI so powerful? And then, ask me any question if you want, right? And then we'll do a discussion, an open and focused discussion about research in general, but related to AI. And I can tell you for one thing that Putin said very clearly that, right, the nation that leads in AI, right, will be the ruler of the world. Right? And of course, Putin is somebody that had been underrated before the Ukraine war. And I tell you that way back in 2012, in NTU here, I was really lecturing on Putin. And what is his real strength, Putin? Putin is a very good turnaround man. In other words, he can turn things around. In my lectures, I focus on Kursk, the submarine that sank, and how he turned the whole perception around within Russia. And of course, you know that you'll find that he has got an eye for it, and you'll find that I'll relate back to him again in this lecture. And of course, way back years ago again, right, in 2005, the West, and now there's a lot of concern about Huawei, right? In the past, right, in 2005, the Americans were already concerned. And Cisco asked me to do a competition training, how Cisco can compete against Huawei. And then way back, The Economist is a good journal. The Economist actually, they're aware that you should try to understand Chinese strategic thinking. If you want to see, I have a series of videos, right, on Cisco. And of course, you'll find that very importantly is that Putin, right? Why is Putin such good strategist? He studies Mao's strategy. Mao Zedong, and Mao is a very good strategist, right? Mao Zedong, when he fought against the Japanese, that's when the first time he looked at Sun Tzu Bing Fa. And when he looked at Sun Tzu Bing Fa, you know what he says about Sun Tzu Bing Fa? 他跟思想跟我一样, he thinks like me. So the focus in study strategy, right, is really to grasp the way a person thinks. This is the secret. Some people say, they written 2,500 years ago, so it's not important and it's not relevant. then it shows me you're not a deep thinker. If you're a deep thinker, you will find that Sun Tzu is actually very relevant in the modern world. And of course, it was the classes was there. And of course, during that period, I was trying to tell Cisco what is the right strategy, given that technology. So that was years back, 2005.
In order to compete with the likes of Huawei,
I don't know if you can hear it.
Western firms are having to become more
And this
Chinese.
is my lecture.
Minimally understanding Chinese strategic thinking.
And
Their strategy is to really.
I don't know if you can hear it, but
Right down to our
I'm understanding people are.
Follower strategy.
Follower strategy.
A good strategy to do.
That's
It's a strategy used. It's a very famous strategy used by in Singapore by a very famous entrepreneur who died. Right, he's a multi-millionaire. Don't have to spend money wasting thinking and just follow where TV go, we go. They have done all the thinking. Followers save all the costs and expenses. No need war gaming. No need. Follow, just follow, just follow. But the day will come when they will not follow.
But I put it down in writing, right? But what happened was that one of the American lady there, we don't have to worry, boy, it's just following us. They are doing advertising. I said, this is very, must be very careful because follower strategy is a good strategy. Sometimes they don't use effort. And one of the multi-millionaire, right, in Singapore, multi-millionaire, right, has made one remark. And he says that you don't have to spend all this money on consultancy. I'm like, no need, just follow. And I told him that 20 years later, Huawei will not just follow. The day will come and they will not just follow. Right, let me explain further. Okay. Now, this is, okay, the army, all right, I ran for safety, right, in skill and arms, 6 miles. From there, I learned, right, the principle of running. And of course, the secret is this, that you should never try and lead at the first time. You should be a follower. You follow, and you try and increase your pace and adjust yourself. System all okay, then in the final place you overtake. Now, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to tell you, this is just my personal view, not AI, right? We're going to ask AI about this. Does AI endorse my view that since Huawei will one day lead? Are they leading now? This is the most interesting part, right? And of course, you find that this is a strategy Jacob Ingebrigtsen used. He started, he was 11, then he went into the 4th position, and then finally became first. 一步一步来，后面跑没关系，跟着跑，finally you chase up. This is going to happen to Huawei soon. Huawei is going to lead, right? Then of course you find, right? Okay. Backstory of why I got interested in AI. Okay, I was well known in Europe, especially in England, for my empirical evidence data to prove that company ASEAN actually use Sun Tzu. What happened? You can get my thesis from the internet. I was surveying all the top company, all the listed company in ASEAN region. And then with the statistical results, I try to explain in the Western planning theory. Cannot. Peter Grenier, right, a very good, my professor, late Peter Grenier, right, told me that, look, try and find some theory that can explain the whole thing. And we wrote a book, Then I found that actually one theory, and that's Sun Tzu. And then of all the correlation within this book, there were 100 over correlation. The one that I was very interested in was the brain of the CEO, the mind of the CEO. Before a CEO makes decision, yes or no. Bosses are all the same. They have to decide yes or no. And that's difficult. Most difficult. And of course, what happened is that they will read strategic material, they will talk to managers. Now, these are all the different activities the CEO does, empirically grounded now. So this is the first time. And then I realized that it's actually neural perspective of how the mind of CEOs work. And then you go one step further, right? I was studying organizations on productivity. So before I joined NTU, I was actually in productivity board. And then one of the interesting thing I found was that And that journal publishes it was actually in Cambridge when this paper was published. And I found that the West and the East has very contrasting methods for organizing. And of course, if you go into quantum computing, you'll know what's very interesting is entanglement. Right? This one like this one like that, this one like that, like this. So it seems that, you know, molecular theory, I have another paper, but I won't bring it. I want just give an overview. So I want to explain why I'm interested in that molecular view of organization may well be more interesting and more valid in the future. Okay, now, so, and then of course, you have Michael Porter. You know, Michael Porter during this period was hot, very hot. And of course, I was invited by this guy called Bose. Do you agree to that we should invite Michael Porter to Thailand to give a talk? And I said, yeah, of course you should, but then you should also study a bit of Sun Tzu. Right? Now Michael Porter is not that famous now, but Sun Tzu still remains. And of course, someone asked me, Dr. Fu, how you suddenly get interested in AI? No, it's not suddenly, because already in 2020, we wanted to do an AI Sun Tzu conference. But because of what? COVID, we stopped it. So I'm coming back again. So 2021, so for a special issue of the journal that I founded, I said, okay, maybe we use this as a topic. And it was planned already in 2000. And then, you know, we anticipated the rise of AI 5 years ago, before it is so hot now. And then you find that, okay, Sun Tzu, this is all explaining, back to the background. Right, I've been across the whole of China, right? Haikou, Urumqi, Gongda, and all that, more than 20 universities now. But where I try to explain Sun Tzu. And then you find one thing very interesting about Sun Tzu. This is a book which I can give you a free copy if you want, right? And it's an embedded translation. Why? Because when you quote Sun Tzu, a lot of people don't know how to quote Sun Tzu. And you quote the translated version, it's no good. You must trace it to the Sun Tzu, the Yan Wen, original thinking also. I will show you in this lecture why you must study Yan Wen. If not, you miss the real thing. And of course, here I put this very important picture in the front because what Sun Tzu is written on, bamboo street. Bamboo street no longer being used. Not even book also no longer being used. And yet Sun Tzu still remains. No book in the world, all right, actually exists 2,500 years. And on the way, nobody promoted it, and yet it comes down today as very relevant. And of course, I regard him as Qi Ren, a unique person. And I went to Qilu University, I went to the center, to the area, and they tell me that Sun Tzu actually is the, a fallen star god of war. Right, maybe this is an interesting perspective. Then more, and very interestingly, Sun Tzu used metaphor. That's why people like Sun Tzu, when they read Sun Tzu. He used metaphor to describe, to draw analogy. The one idea you grasp now. Let me apply it to current today. USA or America in 1980, you can say it's the eagle. Nobody doubt America in the 1980s. Full of respect. You can call it real eagle. Not single-headed, not double-headed, but single-headed. Not like Holy Roman Empire double-headed, but single-headed. Now, if you want to use a metaphor to describe America, Oxford. Why? TikTok cannot see, because the American media is afraid for them to see the reality that China is really progressing so far. So, I mean, this is sad, this is a sad thing. I mean, I'm using to illustrate metaphors. Okay, now I'm coming to integrating AI for strategy. Just 3 lines is all you need. What Sun Tzu says, right? Xuan Quan Er Dong. In other words, reflect and ponder before ordering a move. But much better if you were to investigate what this word means in there. I'll do that later. And then Sun Tzu mentioned that 先知意志之计者胜. 先知, now 先知 is very important. What Sun Tzu says that you must know beforehand. Before, so timing or knowing is important. Then, having known these facts, you then straighten your strategy. focus the strategy, right? Plan in such a way that you will direct and then you implement, then you will win. And so to say, this is the art of competition. 是君真之法也. The word 真 again, you go in there, it's a lot of wisdom in it. You want to study Sun Tzu, then I spent 2 years, I find out word for word, marvelous. But it's very hard to translate that. 它的含义很深，字面上的孙子你看得懂，但是没问题。可是它的含义深。Let me explain to you this, okay now. 宣权而动 this in the old days they put that the word 宣 from a head hung onto a tree, right? Head hung. In other words, you all listen to me because this guy who is my opponent is now dead, right? Everyone must listen to me. They listen because you are now the boss. Nobody else is the boss. So the guy who oppose you, 宣权而动. That means you must make sure that you get all the support and all the power. And you see this word "seen," people must respect you, people must fall. Chinese always emphasize on 同意, but they must work as a team. Right? And this is where you find, if you just say 宣权而动, the deep meaning of this. And in my book, Renaissance Exchange Strategies, which my nice colleague here brought along, right? There's this drawing. 宣权而动. So it is a guy who's against you all the time. You need to make sure you finish him, and then you have all the power, then you can move. Nobody will challenge you. Then after the next point is 先知, you must know first before others. Then 以智之计者胜, you must break it up, right? And because it's put together, sometimes it's difficult to see the clear meaning. What Sun Tzu says is that you must therefore say, now I know what is going to happen. I confirm everything, all right? 我坚定了，好，我们要计划的好 ，the straight direct path to winning. This is 很重要的含义。还有呢，先知 can we 先知 by through AI? Now this is what I will explain to you later on. Why AI may be used to enable 先知. And AI enables 先知. For example, right, if you want to design a product, you want to compete in the market and put it on the internet to sell, will that sell? And that's a question. 谁知道这可以卖吗？这可以卖的话呢，值得做。Is it worth the while investing all that money? So this is published in journal Risk Finance, right? It's important, very important point. Because 先知 is so important. Then of course, 一致以知, right? 一致, this word is walking right around. No more walking around, but you're not sure what to do. You're not sure, right? You tell you, right? You must from a rapid strategy book to a straight path strategy. Now, right now you read about nuclear war. Here and there, Third World War. But if they don't really study Sun Tzu, they will not talk like that. Why? Because Chinese the word 争 competition. Why do you compete? Why do you compete? Because you compete in order to get something. First prize, second prize, you get something. But if you use nuclear war, there's nothing left. Do you follow? So this nuclear bomb has to ban because it makes no sense. It's no longer fighting. It is self-destruction. And this is extremely important for the West to understand. There's no possibility of winning. Right, so they must study Sun Tzu in depth. This word, what's the meaning of 争? 争 for what? For what purpose? Because Chinese has got a certain depth of wisdom, which I think is lacking in the West military thinking. That's why they bombed Hiroshima, they bombed Nagasaki. For what? Some say they already won the war. But in the end, ultimately, all right, this is extreme end of weapon. It should not be used. Because it doesn't achieve your 争的目的是什么？你得到什么？你得到了你空。Then I'll go into the types of AI. Right, that are in the market. Right. Recognition AI, I call it cognitive AI, generative AI, religion AI, judgmental. In other words, the purpose that it does. One classification. I'll move into straight away asking you what is the most popular AI now in the market? What is the most popular? Anyone? ChatGPT. Yes, correct. ChatGPT. What is that GPT? Actually, it's a huge electronic human brain. It consumes a lot of energy in order to produce the result. And I tell you, it's worth your trouble learning how to do it. And of course, it encases into your handphone now. Okay, now. Okay. I'll be giving a talk in Hunan. All right. I'm invited to give a talk on patent, war on patent in October. And therefore, I want to write a CV in Chinese, Okay. But if I do this, it will take me 1 week or more. But I use ChatGPT, my goodness, it's 2 minutes, pop, the whole thing is there. Right, so that is real efficiency. But does it really reflect what I am? But there's no input from me. But it's interesting that it can come up with this already within 2 minutes. So that's efficiency. And it's well done. It praises me in a way that 影响力, right? 在学术界和 right 很高的声誉. So I don't know, but it's interesting that when I got this, I was a bit surprised that it's pretty well done. Now, next. Then, of course, when you design something, the AI generative will generate for you the logo. AI-powered logo design tool can help business create logos in minutes. So it's all minutes, no longer weeks, days, and have to get designer to design and so on and so forth. And you also give the rationale about the methodology involved. In other words, they tell you to actually put information, basic information, and let that written with in Gamma, the software is called Gamma. You'll produce for you. And of course, you find that analyze the input and generate options for you, a choice. When you design a book, the designer will design for you 3 or 4 options, the same. They follow the same human process. What happened? All right. So cost-effective, time-saving, creativity, explorer, accessibility, and convenience. So this is Gamma. Now, my course is about strategy, right? Today talking about strategy. Very importantly, right? There's a new AI tool called Perplexity, which can use against also ChatGPT, right? But this, I think, is interesting. And I wanted to ask the current, what is the cost and benefit of the Ukraine war, Russia, and USA? But for what? Who gain what? Who obtain what? So this is the analysis. And of course, I find that it's slanted towards the US. Don't forget that. Right? Because see, AI has to use data that is on the net. And in English, I'm sure. I don't think they bother to translate all the Russian into English. I have my doubt. But then it is most powerful if you use it to trigger what-if analysis. Correct? Because past is already past. What if I do this? What if that happens? What if? This is where AI is a powerful tool for formulating strategy. What if I go into ASEAN market? What if I were to leave the market? What if? So, what if analysis is used? Especially when you talk of companies that are listed companies that are already a lot of data on the web, on the internet. You follow. And then that AI tell you what they think. But do not act on it just like that. You have to look at it and you have to still have the domain knowledge. Then of course, what if China enters Ukraine war on the Russians? This is the most interesting. Very recently, 1 week ago, NATO wants to take on China. I'm shocked. And I think Oldenburg must have a rethinking because AI doesn't agree with me with that. I'm sure the European leaders, they have not used AI to verify whether, whether China is someone you shouldn't provoke. You provoke them to fight, that is very stupid. Napoleon said a long time ago, let the sleeping dragon sleep. Don't go and, make him antagonize him to, this is, okay, so this is part where I will tell you what what the analysis did, right? Right. Actually, China military dramatically shift the balance of the power in the conflict. Right? You pose a much greater threat to Ukraine and overwhelm Ukrainian forces, so on and so forth. And draw that China's current stand appears to be more focused on balancing and not getting involved. And so this I agree. This I think quite a good what other choice have you got to come to this conclusion? You have to read all the articles, for a scholar to do. But a scholar what can he do? A scholar can use AI to verify that and see is it probable? What else does it miss? And of course, this is where you find that I find AI is a powerful tool for strategic management. Especially if your company is one that in a big company have got a lot of data and information on the internet, and many writers that comment on your company and so forth. And then, all right, this is where you get more interesting. What if Huawei dominate the IT industry? Remember I said earlier, 20 years ago, I told Cisco in the workshop recorded, you're gonna see all the videos, it's all there. I told them, look, Huawei will not just follow. They will come and they will stop following and they will leave. So will Huawei dominate the IT industry? Is so when? This is the result generated. I put in the prompt. And it says that Huawei is ambitious, so on and so forth. And will continue to be a major player. Then I asked, right, okay, when? Right? Now, of course, it says that Huawei faces significant challenges and so. So you find that instead of having to read so many papers, all right, from a strategic analysis, technology management strategic analysis, you could well use AI to prompt, different angles. And then have a meeting and discussion. I think you still cannot avoid using a human brain to appreciate and to understand. So Huawei faces significant challenges, and one of them was patent, right? And is my next presentation, right? What happened if US condemn Huawei, invalid all Huawei patent? What should the counter strategy be, right? Okay, so on this we move on, all right? In other words, military actions you take. You can use AI to endorse or don't endorse it. Because especially in American context, they have all the data about Afghanistan. You're going to withdraw your troops from Afghanistan, right? You can get AI to plan the withdrawal. Okay, what is the future of AI in the marketplace? I don't think you should go and grab all the AI software now. I call it software because they're generative. You use the software, you can prompt and you can. In the future, I believe that the synthesis, all these will start to combine, right, into one subscription base. And then I'll turn to my research into, right, in case you're also interested to do AI research. Now, background to my own AI research. How do I get started? Okay, now one of the key things you'll find that I use this actually is AI generated mini slide. Okay, now, what sort of economy do we have today? Can you tell me? What sort of economy do we have today? Anyone? What sort of economy? Attention. ATTION. Yes, you must catch the attention of people. 吸引人. You don't catch attention, you have no chance. So this is my fundamental understanding. And then of course, you know, there's so many products. Every AI also, they have a lot of product in the market. So how do you draw attention? And of course, you'll find that, well, I started with logos, because logo is the basis which companies fight against each other, right? For example, in Laos, right, there's no Coca-Cola, there's only Pepsi. If they use branding to separate the market. A war between people are fought using logos. And of course, I was very interested at that period in competitive aesthetics. In other words, whose aesthetics is better? And I was interested, right, to say how the brain, how the mind responds to what is beautiful and what is ugly. Okay, now you find that one of my bank manager, when I was working ABN Bank a long time ago, told me, Mr. Fu, can you employ more pretty girls to be the frontline cashier? That's very important. Why? You attract customers. Right. So beauty, I think, is important. You know, that series, you want to see this. You want to see more of it. Ask you to say ugly fish, or you want to avoid, you know. So the brain function, all right, and it's the one that get me excited about it. So we did the research. And it actually is just based on an FYP project. And three of us, we published in the first issue, in volume 1 of a new journal, Artificial Intelligence and Soft Computing. And what we tried to do was to model the brain of Kawabata's Zeki's neuroscience on beauty in parallel. Because the AI is actually a human brain, nothing more than that. And we did that. And I believe we developed the first prototype artificial judge of aesthetic. Up to today, nobody really has gone beyond this. Even up to today. And so that's me, Fu Seiwei, and this lady is very good, Fu Xinyi. She does the lab part of it. And this was the one that excited me. And of course, the brain, all right? The question is, which part of the brain is stimulated when they see beauty or ugliness? The orbitofrontal cortex. And of course, what I'm trying to say is that, you know, the problem we don't know which part of the brain activated. So you need an fMRI machine to tell you that. But then what we did was we actually model it, right? Aesthetic judgment of what influences it. Right? And then of course, this neural network, right? The weights, then input function, activate function, output function. And of course, you find that what we did, we do on logos. Why I don't do faces? Faces is not easy to do, right? But we start with logos. The logos has a commercial application, and then we see, right, this logo, right? Is there any lettering? And we try and have this variable, as many extracts as possible to describe the logo. And from there, we actually, right, neural network. Then we use the deepening neural network, and then we do back propagation. Because this is how the mind works, 0 and 1. And from there, right, so this is it, all right? This is the neural orbitofrontal cortex, motor cortex. And then the idea really is your perception, and then it affects the brain, and then you give a judgment. You know, you see something ugly, you want to turn away from it. You know, you keep, I don't want to see. No, I don't want. No, it's not good. This is very beautiful. I'm attracted to. The more I see, the more I enjoy. This is the part that we try to model. Neural modeling of the neural activation in firing pattern. Now, bear in mind when we did this research, AI wasn't hot. You know what I mean? right? But I see a lot of potential there because it's understanding the brain and how the brain works. And what we do is very simple, is that, right? We actually look at the logo and then we get a student to rate nice or not nice. This is the output function. Right? But this we can go into the detail, right? Neural network. Now I explained about recognition and coordination and localizing. What I mean by that is that logo is important because it signifies something. I don't think you should just let AI generate for your logo. The logo must mean something to you. Okay, then of course you know this, you remember this, and Trump is good, right? When this thing happened, he did the right thing. He did the right thing on the spot. And I was trying to see the bullet firing at his ear. It is definitely not planned by him. He's just lucky to get away with it. If the angle just slide a bit, he would have been dead. Now, why is this important? You'll find, right? This is a very famous American photograph of the war in Iwo Jima, right? And Trump really, right? You really put that symbolic. It could be an idea for, if I were him, I would use this as a logo to remind people that we had a victory, you know. But now he faced a tough opponent, Kamala Harris. Okay, so I also do research on AI for the law. And this is tough one. But I can tell you the US and China, this contrast is there. When I was in Chicago, right, at the annual conference, the judges tell me, American judge, why are you doing this AI research on the law? Don't do this. You're a lawyer, don't do this. You know, just leave it to the engineer. They got enough money already, you know, they got enough business already. Right? But in China, one day notice. So that time I was working on this area, AI research. I said, look, I can give a talk here, I can give a talk on AI and the judge. And that time, I wasn't really there full time. I was just there as a facilitator. So I engaged a translator, and she kindly provided a translator to translate for me. And you see the word there, 新加坡的新. They were all engrossed to listen about using AI. China will lead in AI, no question about it. But the people are really very interested. They get fired up, you know. I was in Beijing Jiao Tong Daxue, right? Also the same. I was there to give AI for accountants. When I came back to Singapore, I told the Singapore accountant, that you should start AI classes for the accountants, right? For AI and for the law. Then, right, of course, now China is a surveillance system. In the future, the thing will be so good that when you go to China, they can tell you where you do, what you do, the whole day. They can print out for you when you leave the place. This is the 路程 accurate. Okay, then of course, I'm now a professor with this Chilu University. Chilu is a good university of technology. Right? I was in political and law school, but I wanted to advance on law and AI. And they actually arranged for me, all right, to discuss with Gong An. Right? I tell you, this is not possible to do in most cases, all right? But Gong An also was interested in my AI research and how AI can help in law enforcement. So we had this interest, you see, by the authorities. Advance this research. Of course, I don't tell the whole world about it because it's something. In research, we just keep quiet, we just do it and we do it until we can really prove it. Okay. Now let me explain the theory of AI, right, or the law. First, we must understand how the brain works. And of course, at that time, I don't think I will pursue it now, but at that time, I wanted to get a judge agree to have his brain studied. Right. In other words, when a judge make a decision, right, what part of the brain is fired? You see, and I can tell you, you read the journal paper if you want, I will send it to you, it's on the internet, all right? And I said that, you see, there's unconscious part of the brain, not just the neuron. But does the neuronal activity reflect unconscious? We don't know. Right? But there's a theory called Freudian sleep. What is Freudian sleep? Freudian sleep is that the guy unconsciously say it out. When his mind is not fully conscious, then he just blurt it out. And I believe that, we're trying to model, I use Lord Denning at High Tree case to explain the process of the thinking or the judge. And then after that, I went to AI for accountants. I think that that's quite straightforward. I think there should be a program, a course on all the AI, generative AI for accountants they can use and they can test out and try out. And we did some courses already until COVID came again, right? And when they decided all should be online. And I don't like online courses. It's like very hardly interaction possible. You see, I was using this mask to teach. And then, of course, you'll find that furthermore, all right, future AI workshops for different professions, different company, different industry, and then integrating AI tools for managing. This, I think, would become the standard in the future. As a professional, you are expected to be familiar with a cluster of selected AI tools. Now, the other question I want to answer for you, and that is, why is AI so powerful? There's so many types of software. Why do you focus on AI? It is so powerful because it's based on the brain, on the human brain. Okay, I was very lucky to be NTU, to be in the school MP, and then to know all the engineers who use this software. Right? And one thing I heard about neuron, even a software that's modeled on, I went deep into it. It's modeled on the system underlying the billions of brain cells in your brain inside your head. As you know, a human being cannot compete with other animals in terms of strength or asset in terms of brain. So I felt that this software would be worth going. And I'll tell Putin that AI alone may not be enough. You need to combine Sun Tzu with AI. Sun Tzu lasted 2,500 years. I don't know whether AI will last 2,500 years or not. And what I did was actually to show you that Genghis Khan, right? I actually created this 157 ideograms of Sun Tzu. Right? That's a fast way to assess the gems of thinking in Sun Tzu. And you find that Genghis Khan, how does Genghis Khan learn about Sun Tzu? That Mongolians don't have anything in writing. So what he did, he paid the merchant double the pay. Right? So they'll come all the way to Mongol and at the same time find out about Sun Tzu Ping Fang. They record on that. In other words, Sun Tzu is worth. And my second book, the first book was to document Sun Tzu really applicable in modern world and see apply and to explain the strategy behavior. And this book was to go into the mind of Sun Tzu. In other words, how does he think? How does he come up with the ideas? I try and come up with a book to explain. It's not good to know what he writes. The most important thing is how he gets the ideas. Like Albert Einstein, no point, E equal MC squared. The question, how on earth does he get this idea? Because it's an idea that you get patent and then the product and then 他的想法, how he thinks. This is emphasis, and then you find that, right? And all my talks, the most interesting talk I had was really to a group of medical doctors. I get it. Because if I talk unconscious to ordinary manager, they will say I'm wasting their time. And what I'm really trying to understand was, how do we use our unconscious mind? In modern world, everybody rush fast and speed. AI justify on speed. But very importantly, that we forgot that we also have a subconscious mind. Right? And in primary school, I remember that when I got a maths problem I can't solve. Okay, I work it, I can't get an answer. Then I go for a walk around. I wander around, look at comics. Suddenly the idea comes to me. I don't know if you got this feeling or not. How your mind works. Go ahead and try it. Your problem, don't decide straight away, just leave it. Give your supercomputer the subconscious mind to work it out. Now, one way is like, your problem, go and find a consultant. But no, the consultant will not know your true problem. Should I marry this man or not? Sometimes the answer may well be the subconscious mind can give you the best answer. Right? So this is where All right, I'm still researching on this area. Now, let me see how much you know your mind, your brain. Can you tell me which part of your brain is activated when you think of strategy? When you think of planning the future? Which part of your brain is activated? Do you know? Use your palm to show me. That's correct. Yes, the prefrontal cortex. Okay, now, all right. So yes, this is a part of the brain. When you think of the future, things start firing. Of course, we can validate it again. If I have the machine, we can validate it again. But most interestingly, all right, Chinese knew this long time ago in studying Chinese painting of emperors. All right, they draw it long. Right. Lee Kuan Yew, right? Also got very high forehead. My grandfather used to tell me, look at his forehead, it's good enough. He's a good leader, a good emperor. It looks like, he can lead. But Chinese had their own way of explaining things. And of course, the question is whether his neural activity enhances and improves as he grows older. When his old age, right? More firm, right? So, in other words, Lee Kuan Yew, of course, is very successful, right? As a strategy, no question about that. The question is whether, because he was a leader throughout this period, he enhances his neural activity right to old age. Then, of course, we have this interesting question of the machine versus human beings. And they did a test. They found that when playing chess, right, machine won. But I don't quite agree, because when Kasparov lost that round, I think it's because due to fatigue. That's my view. I think maybe they should have another game, another round. But then you find that very interestingly, unlike human brain, right? Aging does not affect AI performance. So maybe Kasparov may be too old now. So aging may affect. So you find that emerging strategies, this is the guy you should watch, Ibrahim Traoré. He's a natural born strategist in Burkina Faso. This man, a bit too old. Although he has got very high forehead. I'm trying to get out. He has high forehead. Biden. But Biden is more a second fiddle rather than a leader. But now he has stepped down. But what I'm saying is that aging, right, affects the frontal cortex. This is brain science, of course. Then, of course, you find that, okay, now this is the most interesting thing. This is the most interesting point from this experimentation with AI and the human being, playing Weiqi. Now, I will explain to you later on why you should play Weiqi, not chess. You bring out your kids in Weiqi, you should. And of course, the world top Lee Sedol lost to the computer in playing in Go. And his comment was this. Why he lost? He gave an explanation. Human being will never think the way AI think. In other words, we have certain blind spot, we will not think. But the AI, because they are not human beings, they think. That's why he said he lost. So this another usefulness of AI is to enable thinking of other things that have not been thought of, which human beings ordinarily would not think about. So this is, I think, the interesting lesson we learn from AI. Yeah? And then, of course, AI, I want to explain this to you, is that outside world is changing, right? But the input and output inside here is the interaction, the back propagation. They try and run it again and again in order to get the perfect output mix. But then you find this is what you call 1-0. This is AI, classical computing. But what is this? This is what quantum computing. Quantum is a big field by itself. Why? Because in quantum computing, they discovered actually that photon can be 1 or 0, or it can be 1 and 0, superpositioning. This is another level that we look at. So, but basically the same thing is that there's a lot of interactions going on. And finally, right, as an advice to those who want to be parents of young kids, with this NTU, I was hall 12 head counselor. And then you find that I was, this is Wei Qi. And I find that from my own experience, all right, I would suggest you bring your children to learn Wei Qi. It's good if they can learn it and do it, but over the years, you strengthen their interactivity in the brain, I believe. And I must thank to the Wei Qi teacher, right, from China, who told me that 胡教授，你应该让孩子给他训练围棋 ，strengthen the brain. True. Sounded well in exams. We top in SMU, top in Oxford, so cannot be wrong. So this is a team playing for the hall there. Okay, open discussion. Any questions so far? We are about 5 minutes, 10 minutes left. Future possibilities. I think neuroscience is important. Genes and genealogy. Now, this is and I believe that China has got the first drone. It's an answer. I forgot to mention this. China has got a vehicle that can move, always pointing to the south. This is first drone. Okay, then you find that I was doing some research I didn't cover the whole thing. I actually researched on NeuroBrain, the neural firm. That organization ultimately has become neural. This is published in the US Journal of High Technology Management. In the past, it was mechanical. It's called classical. Then become organic. Then I believe ultimately it has to become neural. Adapting quickly to the technology. Just like managers now, they have to adapt quickly to AI. The boss will tell you, you can't adapt to new technology, you're out. You understand? This is my research. Bernard Stockley has said so, but it's actually in a journal. But then I predicted that it will become more neural. It's way back already. And neural understanding the brain now. Something very interesting about our brain is far more superior than any computer. I'll challenge any computer scientist. But the brain is such that when the brain got a stroke, right, it can start to self-organize and come back and recover. The computer, you gotta throw it away. True, right? Am I right? Handphone, if you got any problem, we got to throw all the data, got to it cannot self-recover. And this, I think, is something of the brain that has not been observed empirically.
Brain cells, how long do they last?
Brain cells, how long do they last? I don't know. But there are billions of them in the brain.
The heart, right? The brain controls the heart.
And this is a very interesting question you ask, because they believe that actually our memory and brain is throughout our body. Our stomach is the second brain. Stomach is actually a brain. So when you play piano, all right, your fingers actually got memory, to memorize, to remember not just the brain here itself. But this is not something which I am authority on. But I was interested because I realized that this brain, the main thing is that it is a self-organizing. That the company can, that the brain can recover the function it lost. And of course, there are now AI in health. Yes, please.
Which part of the brain is responsible for addiction?
Addiction.
Human beings are at times addicted to many things. Drug is one of them.
I don't know.
And then, but nowadays, the neurological science and medical doctors say that the brain can affect your sickness. And something like the brain and the stomach has got a connection.
Yes,
And you
correct.
can cut it off.
You see,
Which one?
I think it's a good question to ask brain surgeon. Actually, at TU, I applied for then a brain conference. All right. When I attended the conference, those people that tell me, Dr. Fu, you attend the wrong conference. We're not interested in normal working brain. We're interested in sick brain. Brain that is sick and that is, you know. Right. So the neuroscience I talk about is actually normal working brain. But you ask a very good question. This is something I'm in no position to answer.
Ask the brain.
I know I'll tell you, but I'm not authority to answer this.
Yeah.
No, but neuroscience is emerging as a field. All right, of research and study.
Therapy.
Now, let me show you this, okay? Now, of course, I hope NTU during when I was around, but I knew at no point of me putting out a requisition to buy this machine. They was definitely turning it down, right? This is silly, it's $500,000, right? But this machine is interesting. This machine is called the fMRI. MRI alone will not capture sufficient detail about the brain functioning, but with the F there, right? It's a new type. Yes, it can show where as you think the brain firing, you can tell which part of the brain fire. Well, I experienced this because I was in Hakunta. Right, I make a sleep and then they put me in machines to see whether I need a surgery or not for my youth. This is the MRI. So maybe one day when the price drop to China is making new, is going to make this. If it drop 10%, maybe I'll buy for fun.
Disruptive technology.
All right.
We use the Indonesia and all this disruptive technology,
Disruptive.
which means the production cost for this machine from India is 10 times lesser than in America.
Yes,
Then they sell this to America. The people come from America, go to Indonesia, master this disruptive technology, which is very cheap. And it did not be accurate. Because the American one is 100, 200% accurate.
Yeah.
You go to the India and all
Let me
this,
check it out. Okay.
different life, different people have different treatments. So certain type of sickness or tumors or what, do they really need the MRI?
For me, this stuff is actually as a research. When I think of, you know, right, and how the brain functions. For research, you need equipment. That come about neuroscience. So the neuroscience correlate of aesthetics in a paper. I just got it. All right. Okay. Good point. Then of course, you know, my research that I wanted to run up, and one thing you notice, which I believe, is that maybe genes may have influence on neural activity and interest. It's just theory. Okay, why? You see, I was surprised to find out when I was in China. You know, they tell me that I know why you're interested in strategy. Because your ancestor, your ancestry, Fujian, right? Qianqing period, right? Are all strategies, generals and all that. Theory. And then of course I apply this here, right? You know what happened to Russia? I give a long view of Russia, long view. I think in the long run, Russia will become integrated together. That's what Putin goal is, I believe. Why? It happened to China. 16-state period. And that's where my ancestor, right, Fujian, was involved in trying to unite the whole of China. So this is just, you know, if I have time, I'll do some research of this style, of this nature. And then I'm very interested in the competitive unconscious. This is, I published a paper in Science Journal, Open Communication Journal, but it's not really substantive about the third eye. Right? There's inside the brain, you have a pineal gland. And maybe that becomes, you see, the moment you go into quantum computing, then you're going into some esoteric things. Right? Because Einstein tell you time itself, not really understood. Maybe there's no time. Maybe time is an invention of a mind. And this entanglement and all that. But that's not my topic of conversation. Right, then I want to finish by hopefully, you know, researchers like you contribute to a paper. The reason for this talk really is that I wanted to get interest, right, of scholars, right, to publish in this journal. I'm going to come up with a special issue, right, with Robert, right. We are forming a group of guest editors, right, and probably, all right, we want to study the impact of AI in transforming management. How AI changes the way people behave. I think it's a very important area of research. The managers get sacked because they don't know AI. This is justifiable and all issues related to AI transforming, because AI is AI too, yeah, but then how that to impact society is something which we should be concerned about. So, and of course, also tell you the journal, most professors are concerned about whether the journal recognize and so on and so forth, right? But this journal that I founded actually 4 years after we come out, it actually equal to Harvard Business Review in terms of ranking by Scopus SC Inlango. And we have a small celebration for that.
Thank you very much.
I hope you enjoy yourself.
Very useful. Excellent speech, excellent presentation, very impressive. That's at least a certificate of appreciation from our school, NTU, Professor Fu. I have a group photo. That's a group photo.
No, thank you.
Let's invite or those in person here. Yeah, thank you. And bring here, draw a book for Prof. Fu to sign, is it?
Well, yeah, this is my copy of it. Sure, you want.
Has he
Are
signed?
they signed to you?
No, I didn't
You sign
buy.
now, let him sign now.
Okay. I've had this for years, so I'm getting to sign now. We did the launch. Do you remember? Yeah.
Yes. No problem.
Go. Yeah.
Come. Yeah. Come here. You. Yeah, okay, you send the outside, yeah.